who are they to judge her? Judge Amy Coney Barrett and those ridiculous Democrats on the Judiciary Committee. The confirmation hearings have started. Did you watch today? Happened during the day. I watched a little bit. At least I got the gist of it. And are you ready? Here's the deal. Judge Barrett is a threat. Number two, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a saint. And Donald J. Trump, our president, is the devil.
By replacing Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg with someone who will undo her legacy, President Trump is attempting to roll back Americans' rights for decades to come.
You have been nominated by a president who shows contempt for the Constitution, but does not hesitate to tell his loyal followers that you are being sent to the bench to do his political chores.
Judge Barrett, I'm not suggesting you made some secret deal with President Trump, but I believe the reason you were chosen is precisely because your judicial philosophy, as repeatedly stated, could lead to the outcomes President Trump has sought.
That last part doesn't sound like that bad. I mean, that kind of right. People understand that, even though he's making that kind of sourpuss face there. Democrats were Democrats during this hearing. And what are you going to do? They're frustrated right now because deep down, I believe they know they can't stop this. The Republicans, I think, did very well, including my favorite Republican on the committee, in part because she's not a lawyer, Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee.
What they're trying to do is to convince the American people that they should be terrified of Judge Amy Coney Barrett. Rather than reviewing your judicial philosophies, they're instead choosing to project their own desires and their fears onto the American people. It sounds as if they are trying to create a panic.
A panic and a lot of fear-mongering over the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. Obamacare. I was a little surprised by that because as far as I can tell, Obamacare is very expensive. It's not that popular, awfully complicated, and a lot of people are going to be just fine when it goes away. And you got to remember this. Donald Trump said it as a candidate. I think he still believes this.
My plan is very simple. We're going to have private health care, but I will not allow people to die on the sidewalks and the streets of our country if I'm president.
So Democrats know that they can't stop this, and it's good that we're going to have 9 justices on the Supreme Court in not too long, because most likely the election will wind up at the Supreme Court. Yeah, I know you've seen the polls that Democrats are running away with this thing. That's not true. They really want us to believe it is, like they're trying to distort reality. It reminds me of that book I read in 9th grade, 1984, by George Orwell. Let's see. Whatever the party holds to be the truth is truth. I think that might explain some of these polls we're seeing, because they're just not accurate. I know this country pretty well. So do you. We know the atmosphere out there. Do you believe this stuff? Do you believe that Joe Biden is winning by 12 points? Fake news reinforces that all the time.
The president is returning back to the campaign trail at a time when he is down in the polls by double digits.
Polls out this morning have Donald Trump down by 12 points, have him losing almost every state in the Midwest.
The 5th high-quality poll since your debate that shows the president trailing by double digits.
Do any of them remember 2016? Now let's take a look at some of these polls right now. 2020, they're being published, and yeah, they show that Donald Trump is down. But, and I'm not the first one to notice this, I know you have as well, and you remember what they were saying in 2016, that Hillary Clinton, that she had this thing essentially locked up. Here's one of my favorite from back then, the Washington Post. They put Donald Trump's chances of winning the election at near 0%. So what are they thinking? And I do think there's a strategy here. They're up to something with these polls. Number one, polls that show Joe Biden winning like this, they're meant to discourage us, to keep us at home. If we think our guy is going to lose and lose by a lot, the thinking goes that we're not going to show up to vote. Of course, they're wrong about that. Also, this gives their fundraising a big boost. When it looks like Joe Biden's going to win, people with big checkbooks write big checks for Joe Biden. So that's the plan. Don't believe it. It's not going to work out that way. not by a long shot. Believe me. In the meantime, I tell you what, I would have enjoyed watching another debate this week. I think it would have been really good for our side. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. I don't know about the third debate next week. But in the meantime, why is there no second debate? The media tell us that it's all Donald Trump's fault.
The debate that, as you mentioned, was supposed to come up on Thursday the 15th from in-person a town hall to a virtual town hall. The president immediately pulled out.
Pulling out of the debates, trying to get back in.
But to be clear, it was your father that pulled out of the debate. The debate commission said it would be a virtual debate. It was your father that pulled out of the debate.
It reminds me of Stripes, Sergeant Hulka. Am I hallucinating or something? Am I the only one who remembers the big controversy, or should have been big controversy, revolving around the proposed moderator, Steve Scully, that Mr. Rogers type dude from C-SPAN? Yeah, there he is. Nice guy. Just one thing. He got caught communicating with the opposition, with Trump hater Scaramucci, the Mooch. Found him on Twitter. Should I respond to Trump? And then Mooch writes back, oh, yeah, don't worry. No, a lot of dirt about to come down here. They thought these were private messages. They were posted publicly on Twitter. Nobody believes the hacking story. So they kind of canceled themselves, the debate. You can't put that on Donald Trump at all. But again, they're just overlooking it. And this is very interesting to me. Why are they overlooking it, the folks in the media? Because they're all friends with each other, especially in Washington, D.C. It is such a small town. You know those three guys who just blamed it all on Trump? Here are those three guys on Steve Scully's C-SPAN show. Over the years, there's nothing cooler than dropping by C-SPAN and having a chat with Steve Scully. You can talk about your book, you can take a couple of phone calls from the audience, and it's just kind of a great arrangement. Let's see, there's John Carl, who was on not too long ago, selling his book on Steve Scully's show. See what's happening here? They all take care of each other. You know how it should be in Washington, D.C. You know, I want everybody to love each other as human beings, but that doesn't mean you have to hang out together, especially when you're a journalist. Gordon Gekko in Wall Street put it this way.
And if you need a friend, get a dog.
I mean, didn't they used to say that in Washington, D.C.? I think Truman came up with that. There's some wisdom in that. You can get too close to the system, and they're all way too close to each other down there. They just can't see straight anymore.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.